So just before we get too carried away with cars and things like that, let me just explain what today's video is about. Now, as you'll tell from the title, we're taking a look at the LowePro Protactic 2, the 450AW. It's the second version of their very popular Protactic line of bags, and there's some real good improvements which I'm happy to discuss shortly. But I just wanted to explain that I'm a photographer and videographer first. I only make YouTube videos just because I enjoy the process of making them, and I like talking about photography gear and trying to help other people out. I don't make any money from it, so I did reach out to LowePro and ask if I could borrow a bag. They very kindly said yes. And when I agreed to make the review, I did explain that I would say what's good and what's bad about the bag as well. And they were quite happy for me to do that. And there are a couple of things that I'm not particularly keen on, so we'll get into those details a little bit later on. But because I am a photographer and videographer first, I think it leaves me in a good position to see it from your guys' point of view and explain what I do and don't like about it, because I am using it on a daily basis. So if I've got any particular gripes with it, I'm more than happy to say so. But let's get back into the video, because I know you're all keen to see the cars and things like that, and I'll explain more about the bag while we're doing it. So when I was actually looking for a new bag, I did lots of research and looked at loads of different bags. And to be honest, a few of the key things that I was actually looking for was, one, making sure that the bag's really durable. These bags tend to get thrown on the ground or thrown in the back of cars while they're moving around. So I needed to make sure that it was well protected, and the LowePro certainly looked good in terms of protection. Another key thing for me as well was obviously storage space, so making sure that it could store everything, and it can fit 2 DSLRs as well as a bunch of lenses and other accessories, so that was a great bonus. And one of the third and kind of like really important things for me was the actual comfort of the bag as well, making sure that if I was carrying it over long distances or using it in environments that I wasn't used to, that the bag wasn't getting in the way at all or added in like extra pressure on my back or anything. And the bag actually feels really comfortable to use. All of the padding works exactly as it should, and I haven't had any issues, including using it over long periods of time where the bags felt particularly uncomfortable. So that was a huge bonus for me. So let's just take a quick look around some of the details of the bag. So the Protactic bags, one of the main striking features is basically how cool they look. They're fairly discreet, they don't exactly scream out camera bag, and if you're shooting in city centres like I am, that's kind of a good thing, because you don't want thieves and things going. That's obviously a camera bag, I'm going to take that. The outside is kind of synonymous these days with having these webbings on the outside, which is fantastic, because like you can find all sorts of little bits of gear and stuff that you can hang off it should you need to. So incredibly versatile. And we've also got these new quick release clamps on there for the straps, which are really easy to use, and to be honest, very well made as well. I keep spare memory cards in the other side, and look, elastic bands and things, there you go. On the sides as well, you've also got quick access points, so one there, and on the other side there's another quick access point there. Now, I haven't got my camera gear in here, but you could have a second body down there, and obviously the main access point for cameras and things is this top part there. So certainly if you're using a larger camera and stuff, you want to keep it in the top there, and it even has a space to keep a camera with a 70 to 200mm lens on, so there really is a fair bit of space. But let's spin it around and take a look at the other side. So there's plenty of padding on the back, which is always useful because you need the bag to be comfortable for obvious reasons. And I've found the straps are particularly comfortable, especially if you're wearing them kind of all day. I haven't had any kind of issues with them digging into my shoulder or anything like that, which is an absolute bonus for a bag like this that can carry a fair amount of gear around. It does come with an adjustable waist strap that I've actually taken off because I don't really see the need for it for what I do, but it does have a chest clamp across there which helps hold the shoulder straps together, which spreads the load and makes the bag incredibly comfortable to wear, and also means that the straps aren't going to slip off your shoulder, which can get quite annoying. So really comfortable to wear, no issues with any of that. So let's open her up and take a look inside. And pretty much like most camera bags these days, you've got plenty of adjustable compartments in there. All of this can be removed. As you can see, the bag is incredibly deep, So in some respects it's almost like having double layers on it, because if you just put some of the padding over the top, so if you lay a lens flat, put some padding over the top, you've still got some room on top to keep other things as well. So that's really useful. One of the things I have done is I've been and bought one of the accessories myself with my own money, and that's this LowePro filter holder. Great piece of kit, but what I really like about it is it fits the bag perfectly, as you'd expect being LowePro gear, and also kind of matches the colour scheme and things, which is really useful because when you're turning up to professional jobs you don't want all sorts of junk falling out all over the place. So it does look good as well. On the back here you'll see that there is the additional kind of like compartments there just for keeping loose items, but more importantly as well, there you go, there's the kind of space to keep your laptop in, and I do regularly carry my 15-inch MacBook Pro around in it as well. So it can certainly take the weight, it feels comfortable, and I've got no issues with any of that. So as with everything, there's always a few downsides to these kind of things as well, and although I was actually hard pushed to find things that I really didn't like about the bag, there were a few things that I felt could have actually been improved. For one, the bag is a little bit of a pain to try and stand upright, so it's fairly easy if you're holding it with one hand and you're trying to get a camera out of the top part with another hand. But when you're trying to access the back, if you want to stand it up and fully open the back, it just doesn't want to do it. It wants to roll one way or the other. So that can be a little bit of a pain, knowing that you've got to lie the bag down. One of the other things as well is, even though it's got a lot of storage space internally, I still kind of wish it had some kind of opening or a kind of pocket on the exterior just for throwing kind of loose items around. Certainly things like filter holders and things like that where they can easily be accessed. But overall, I was certainly impressed by the bag, and one of the key features for me was that it's incredibly durable. So when you are out in these different environments, knowing that your bag's safe is crucial. I really found the bag a joy to use, and when you're out in these kind of environments and you just need to concentrate on what you're doing, having the right gear is critical, and the LowePro certainly didn't get in the way. It did its job properly, so I was incredibly pleased with how it performed. So what are my final thoughts on the bag? Well, as you can probably tell, I'm pretty impressed by it. It's certainly durable, and the most important thing for a bag like this is that it's protecting your gear, and I certainly think it's capable of doing that, so I'm more than happy with that. It's also very comfortable. I've had absolutely no problems with wearing it over long periods of time, and certainly when you're out and about in the wild and things, you need something that's not distracting you, so you kind of, you know, concentrating on what you're doing rather than worrying about what your bag's doing. So perfectly happy with it in that respect. Are there any things that I don't particularly like about it? Well, as I've previously mentioned, I kind of wish that it did have some kind of flexible pouch or something that was a little bit more versatile. I know that LowePro do make other bags, and the Whistler bag in particular has an additional kind of pouch at the front, and I think that would be more useful for throwing things like gimbals or maybe a coat or whatever you need into a bag like that, just so that you've got that kind of flexibility. And there's no getting away from it. One of the other downsides for the vast majority of us, me included, is the cost. At around about £250, depending on where you find it, it's certainly not a cheap bag. However, the one thing that I would say in addition to that is that most of us are only replacing a bag every few years, maybe every 5 years or so. So if you put it in that respect, it's actually, you know, it's not too bad value. And certainly these days when there's bags out there that are £300–400, and if you can afford one of the Peter McKinnon bags, well, fair play to you, doing better than I am. They do go for kind of silly money these days. So I actually think it's a good mix of practicality, durability, and fairly affordable in that respect. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been useful to you. Please do leave a comment below if you've got any questions, or more importantly, if you've got any other recommendations over other bags. Kind of fairly happy to check them out, so do leave a comment below. If you've enjoyed the video, do hit the thumbs up, and if it's your first time here, please do consider subscribing. I've got quite a few more videos like this coming up, And I'll be getting back to some actual photography gear, so a couple of lenses, maybe even a camera and stuff thrown in there. So more than happy to kind of help share my opinion on those things. So I am looking forward to those. Also, don't forget, you can always find me on Instagram if you want to see my actual work and see what I'm doing on a daily basis. And I think there's a link or something floating around somewhere, so please feel free to check that out. But hopefully I'll catch you in another video again soon.